Hello everyone, this video will cover module 15. 15 and 16 are our final modules for the class. They will be open at the same time, so you can complete the assignments in any order. However, the assignment in module 16, which is a reflection on the class, does ask you a question about the assignment in module 15. So there is kind of a logic to the order there. But you can just look at all of them and start working on them at whatever point you need to. So you do have an extra week as well because of fall break. So I will be posting an announcement about that that you'll see probably before you watch this video. So you can see the only assignment in module 15 is this revision assignment. We are done with major essays for the class and now we're focusing on just reflection and revision. So the hard part of the class is over and now we are just focusing on how we can improve as writers. What have we learned this semester, that kind of thing. So I've got a section in the textbook, it's part 6, which does not have a linkable chapter for the module, but you can just go in there and just scroll down to part 6, which is just the guide to grammar and sentence style. These are all things that you probably have learned before. You may or may not just know what they're called, and so it's just nice to brush up on some of the terminology and some of the ways that we can correct things. Like if you notice, okay, I've seen comma splice in my writing before, and so now as comments on my writing before, so now I'm going to look what that is and how to correct it. So what you're going to be doing then is going back through all of your essays. I would start with the graded ones, and then you can go into the visual analysis. I'm sure I won't have a grade on that yet for you, so you can go back through that one as well. But basically, you're just looking for errors that you've made in your writing, and it doesn't really matter whether it's an error that I commented on or just one that you find. You're going to be isolating those sentences. The idea is to start with errors that are small. So looking for misspelled words, misused punctuation, that kind of thing, and then kind of branch out into wording issues, maybe a sentence that you didn't like the way that you put it to begin with, and you'd rather put it, write it in a different way, all of that kind of thing. So you've got lots of stuff that you can look at, and it kind of depends on the amount of errors that were in there to begin with, and you may end up without really any errors, as in there was no grammar problems, but in most instances students can look for sentences with just weird wording or something like that, and then they'll have plenty of sentences to pick from. So what you're going to do then is, I got this example in here, and your objective is to write out the original version, your corrected version, and then explain what you did. So if it's a specific error, then you can explain, I fixed this comma splice. If it's something that's more of the wording, like this one, you need to revise second person because there was a shift between, I and you. And so you can explain that kind of thing if you need to. And then if it's something that affects the entire essay, so this example would be an essay that needed to go in chronological order, but there is some paragraphs that would be out of order. So instead of copying and pasting the entire essay into this document, instead I'm just going to explain that this affects the entire essay, and I would rearrange the sentences. Now, a couple of things to note. First of all, you are pulling these examples out of your essays and putting them in a new document. So you're not writing over your old document, and you are not making these changes to the essays themselves. I just want to see that you can isolate sentences with issues or sections with issues, and you can fix them, okay? I don't need the corrected versions. You're not going to go back in and correct your essays or anything like that. So just keep that in mind. This is not, some students try to make this assignment much harder than it needs to be, and it's not. You're just doing those 20 sentences. Now, if you run out of sentences, so you've gone through all of your essays, even the ones that I haven't graded yet, and you still don't have 20 sentences, you can email me if you want to. I can give you some corrected or sentences to correct, but the main thing is to be looking for things, even if there was nothing technically wrong with the sentence, you definitely could find at least 20 sentences in your writing to reword. And if you're struggling with this, you can always send me an email. I have let students use some homework assignments and things like that as part of their sentences, just so because I want you looking back through all of your writing for the semester. So we're finding errors, but also things that could just be improved. So that's the only assignment for the semester, and you're just, or for the semester, for this unit, and you're just turning that in. You are getting graded on those 20 sentences. Please number them. And I just literally, I go through and I count, did you do 20 of them? And then I give you your points. And does it look like you actually put effort into, making the corrections to the mistakes? So if you have questions at all, if you're confused, just send me an email. Otherwise, have a great week.